To introduce Michael Moore, it is a great pleasure to introduce another very important member of our community, Gus Van Sant. Internationally acclaimed filmmaker, his latest movie, Elephant, was presented at the Schnitz as a fundraiser for Outside In, made over $200,000 for that group. And as I'm sure you're well aware, it won 2 very prestigious awards at the Cannes Film Festival. Few films have ever done that. Also directed Finding Forrester, Drugstore Cowboy, To Die For, Good Will Hunting. We are very, very pleased indeed to welcome Portland's own Gus Van Sant.
Wow. I think I saw Led Zeppelin here once. And many other things. I know I saw Van Halen here. And I've never... You can't hear me? Oh. Okay, well, I think that I saw Led Zeppelin here one time. But I've never addressed this many people. But thanks for coming. I mean, it's great to have Michael Moore in town. It's great to... and I know you're going to love this. When I made Drugstore Cowboy, it went to the Toronto Film Festival at the same time that Michael Moore had brought his film, Roger and Me, to the film festival. And I remember checking in and... eyeing these people who were getting ready to get on the elevators, and they each had a hat that said Roger and Me on it, very uniformly, and I was guessing that they were from Illinois or someplace, and that, you know, their film, you know, it might suck really bad, and I thought maybe it was about a man and his dog, or I wasn't sure. They seemed very excited, and, you know, at the prospects of being at the Toronto Film Festival, and I was... you know, very, very amazingly surprised when I did see Roger and Me. And, you know, a new voice really was created, a new artist and a new political thinker. And, you know, we'll welcome him here. And before Michael comes out, I wanted to introduce 2 very distinguished guests.
Hello. Hello, everybody. This is Saddam Hussein. Hello, Portland. Please welcome my good friend, Osama bin Laden. Hello. Hello, my name is Osama bin Laden, and I want to kill all Americans. Thank you and good night. Drive safely. Thank you. They haven't caught us yet. That's because we've been hiding out in Portland. They'll never catch us here. We've been riding around on bicycles, and we've made an organic garden. And don't forget the good people at PG&E. They're the ones who are helping us here. You know, we said, well, if we go to America, we must find a place with evildoers. And someone said, go to Portland, they got PG&E and Enron. Ah! Yes, and the good people at PG&E have been very, very, very good to us. And we want you to listen to everything they say to you because they are like us. Thank you. All right, enough of this stuff. Let's welcome the man of the hour, Mr. Michael Moore.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Wow.
Whoa! Portland! Whoa! Thank you, please. Thank you, wow. Wow, this is... Where were you on Oscar night? Next time I'm getting you all a ticket. If you don't mind, can I put these guys down? We picked those up at a frat house. Oh man, this is incredible. You know, if we're in the middle of this, we're doing 39 cities in 23 days, and this is city number 25, and it has been like this every single night across America. If you could see this, it's not just Portland. If you could come with me on this tour, can you? I mean, your spirits would be so lifted because it's like this every night, and you see, I mean, geez, it was like we had over 5,000 in Baltimore, 6,000 in Minneapolis, 7,000 in Denver. We were in Stockton, California last night, which is, if you know where Stockton is, it's in the most conservative area of California with a right-wing Republican congressman. And there were close to 4,000 people that were there in Stockton, California. And if you saw this, if you could see what I've seen, you would know that Bush is doomed. He is doomed. It's all over. It's all over. It is, you know, the American people, they're really, I mean, they are pissed off right now. And you know what is so great about our fellow Americans, regardless whether they're liberal or conservative, Republican or Democrat, left or right? You know the one thing that kind of binds us all as Americans? We don't like being lied to. Nobody likes being lied to. And they've figured it out, our fellow Americans, that we were lied to. And, you know, that's the good news, because in past wars, it would take years for the lie to be exposed. This one just took months. This is really, this was good, you know. And it was 6 months ago tonight that I stood on that Oscar stage, and it was no you know, it's a funny thing. If you've ever Gus knows this because he's won an Oscar. The first words you hear after you win the Oscar, and after, you know, the booing stops, the first words you hear as you walk off the stage are there's two interns standing there in evening gowns and tuxedos, and I mean the woman is wearing an evening gown and the guy is wearing a tuxedo. It's not Portland. And the first things that you hear, one goes, champagne, offers you the champagne, and the other one goes, breath mint. Those are the first words you hear after you've won the Oscar. But it was so strange that night, the whole week leading up to the Oscars, you know, because the war started, and I was out there in L.A., and all I heard in the days leading up is that ABC was going to eliminate the documentary category from the telecast to shorten, you know, the ceremony, or they would cut to a commercial, or they would cut to Peter Jennings. They were so nervous, and I kept telling everybody to calm down. We're not going to win this. This is, you know, not going to happen. And then when Diane Lane opened up the envelope and announced that it was Bowling for Columbine, I was like walking up there and on the way to the stage, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do now? Because I hadn't really prepared anything, and there were these two voices in my head on the way up to the stage, and one voice was going, "Just blow them a kiss and thank them and leave the stage," and the other voice was going, "No, you have a job to do. You must say something. Don't say anything. Just thank your wardrobe people and your hairdresser and your agent and say, you like me, you really like me." Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. He has to say something. And I'm going, no, I don't want to. This is my Oscar moment. Straighten up. Be an adult. Just give Diane Lane a kiss and walk off the stage. You are not allowed to kiss Diane Lane. That is Adrian Brody's job. Anyways, that all transpired in about 5 seconds, and then I felt, well, I made a movie about our American culture of violence and how we like to use violence as a means to an end, and so it seemed like the appropriate thing to do to point out that we were being led to war for fictitious reasons, and it may seem. It was like Steve Martin's joke on the show there. It wasn't actually just a joke. I mean, it was really like they brought in all this security to protect me as I left the building. But it was the next day, our home in Michigan was vandalized. And then the day after that, it was vandalized again. And then a couple days later, it was vandalized again. But the good thing about vandals is they get tired and bored after a while. And so after a week, they stopped vandalizing our home. So it wasn't so bad. But here we are now 6 months later. And most of our fellow Americans know that we were lied to, that there were no weapons of mass destruction. There were no biological and chemical weapons. There were no mobile weapons labs. They were just tanks with helium in them to blow up balloons. Weapons of mass balloonery. That's why we fought the war. And of course, most people now know that Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with the planning of September 11th. So that's where we're at. And every day you can turn on the Fox News channel or right-wing talk radio. What is that sound that comes out of the right-wing talk radio and the Fox News channel? You know the sound, right? Rah! Rah! Shut up! Shut up! You shut up! No, you shut up! All day long. It's like, what is that sound? What is it that they're so angry about, the right wing and the conservatives? What are they angry about? They own everything. Why are they, they control the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives. the Supreme Court. They've got 2 cable news channels. They got Wall Street, the media, a majority of the governorships. What are they? And yet all day long they're like, I hate everything. I'm so pissed off. There's something pathological about that. You know? Jeez. They've got everything. Imagine, folks, can you hear me okay? Is it too loud? I just heard you shouting at Gus that you couldn't hear him, so the parallel of that, the opposite of that, if we were in charge, imagine how would we sound all day? I mean, just kind of imagine this. What if Ralph Nader were president? The liberal Democrats controlled both houses of Congress. Mario Cuomo and Jesse Jackson were on the Supreme Court, and the Pacifica Radio Network owned NBC. Now, that would be the opposite of what we have right now. What would we sound like? We'd be, would we be going, I'm so unhappy, shut up? We would be filled with joy, right? We would have thought we died and gone to heaven, right? There's something weirdly pathological about the right wing and the conservatives and why they're in this kind of wound up, twisted, frame of mind. And I've tried to, figure out what is it that's got them so upset. And I think I have it figured out. They realize something that even most of us don't realize. They realize that the country has shifted. The country is now a liberal country. It is now a progressive country. That's the country we live in here. And I know there's tepid applause for that because it's like, well, it sure doesn't feel like it's very liberal. I mean, in a couple precincts here in Portland, maybe, but Mike, no, you see, I mean, this is why they've done such a good job of making us so impotent by getting us to believe that our fellow Americans have shifted to the right, that our fellow Americans are conservative, that they all belong to the Christian coalition. The truth is that our fellow Americans are very liberal when it comes to the issues. They check out any public opinion poll that comes from the mainstream, the Gallup polls, the Harris polls, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and they all show that our fellow Americans want stronger environmental laws. The majority of them want stronger environmental laws. They want a raise in the minimum wage. The majority are now pro-choice. The majority oppose discriminating against gays and lesbians. The majority are for affirmative action. The majority want more gun control. The majority of Americans are liberal. They're progressive. Now, they would never call themselves that because they hate the word liberal. They hate the word because they hate liberal leaders. Liberal leaders have turned it into a dirty word. Actually, liberal leaders have turned themselves into an oxymoron. They aren't leaders. Liberal leaders follow. Liberal leaders have no spine. The so-called opposition party, the Democrats, this isn't an opposition party. This is a party that over and over again believes the way to win an election is to become more conservative. And so they always try to run to the right. And they try to make themselves as bland as possible so that no one has any sort of passion or enthusiasm for them. It's why Gray Davis could never beat that recall because, you know, how can you be for a guy like Gray Davis? Hello, my name is Gray Davis, and I'm really a Republican posing as a Democrat. I believe in capital punishment. I believe in 3 strikes and you're out. I believe in taking away money from the poor, and on and on and on. And then he wonders why he can't win. You know, by trying to be an imitation Republican. Why do that? Because if the voters, I mean, if they have the choice between the imitation and the real thing, they're going to go with the real thing if that's what they want. You know, the Democrats they're like a pleather, you know. You ever go to like buy a car, you know, and the car salesman's going, and you go, "Wow, are these leather seats?" Well, actually, it's pleather. What the fuck is that? It's like leather, but it isn't. Well, that's kind of what the Democrats are. They're the pleather party. They're kind of like Republicans, but they're not really. You know, so that's, you know, but what was so cool about the California recall is that because the country has shifted, and because the Republicans do know this, they know it better than we know it. They know they live in a liberal country. They know they live in a country full of people who believe that nobody should be in charge of a woman's reproductive organs other than the women themselves. They know that. They hate it. They know it and they hate it. So for the last 20 years, we've had to watch the sickening sight of the Democrats running to the right, trying to be more conservative in order to get elected. And this California recall was the first time in like over 2 decades we got to watch the Republican run to the left. Think about this. The only way Arnold could win was by being, you know, at least sounding like he was liberal on the social issues, right? He had to say publicly, "I am pro-choice, I am pro-environment, or I am pro the environment, I am pro the choice, and I am pro the gun control, and I am married to the Kennedy." Isn't that cool? The only way that you can get elected now is you got to be married to a Kennedy if you're a Republican. Because you see, the people of California just 11 months ago had a choice between a governor they despised and a right-wing Republican. And when given that choice, the majority of Californians said, "I'd rather have a governor I despise than a right-wing Republican." That's where the country's at, folks. And so the Republicans got the message. Arnold got the message. This is the only way we're going to win is if we sound like a Democrat, at least on these social issues. That's the only way we can pull it off. It's a compliment to us that they now see that they've got to at least mouth these words in order to win. It's because the country has shifted. But most of us just haven't got the memo yet. Most of us haven't really felt like it yet because it's been a very despairing time living under Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz and the whole gang. So it's hard for us to kind of see what is really going on. But that's the sound you hear on the Fox News channel. That's why there's all the moaning and the groaning and the anger, because they know their time is up. Over 60% of the American electorate now is either female or people of color. Nearly 2/3 of the American voting public is female or people of color. That's America now. When you say United States of America, this is not the first image that should come into your head. It's not a white guy. It's Oprah. It's a woman or it's a person of color. That's America, folks. 2/3 now. 2/3. And the angry white guys on Fox and the radio networks, they know it. They know it. They're going, ah, ah, the chicks and the faggots have taken over. Ah, ah. It's like they've been in charge for like 10,000 years. Fuck, that's a long run. The Yankees don't even come near that. 10,000 years of being in charge, and now, white guys are 35% of the population. The angry white guys even less. They know it's over. The game is up. And it happened on their watch. It happened on their watch. For 10,000 years, white men have ruled, and now, on their watch, they lost it all. Can you imagine how they feel? Shut up! Shut up! I'm melting! And how cool is it that we got to be the generation of all the generations of these 10,000 years, we got to be the generation to watch the end of them. This is so, how cool is that? That sound you hear on Fox and the MSNBC, the Fox wannabe, and the right-wing talk radio station here in Portland, it's the sound of a dying dinosaur. The days are over. It's all over. And it's the pain. It's their pain that you hear. It's that pain. And all they need is one more Oxycontin pill. One illegally obtained Oxycontin pill is a felony. 10,000 illegally obtained Oxycontin pills is 10,000 felonies. Rush Limbaugh. Please, now, it's our side that shows compassion and caring for those in time of need. I mean, poor Rush. I mean, I've been trying now for a week or two to find, trying to find that place that I believe is inside of me that cares for someone who, regardless of their political persuasion, needs help. And I can't find one iota of sympathy in my body for this guy. How many thousands of pills did this guy obtain illegally? What was it? It was like tens of thousands, right? So in other words, that makes Rush Limbaugh a drug lord. I mean, if I have 10,000 bags of heroin, doesn't that qualify me as a drug lord? OxyContin's better than heroin. Rush Limbaugh and his drug ring. Rush Limbaugh, the drug lord. And yet tonight, Rush Limbaugh sits in a country club rehab center getting help. Well, it's very good news. It's very good news. Also tonight, 2.1 million of our fellow citizens sit in prison. Half of them are there because of drug-related offenses. Half. When you are addicted to drugs, my friends, that is a medical problem. not a crime problem. You need help, not incarceration. Rush Limbaugh has been the leading hate speech advocate for 15 years. He has been at the forefront of the right-wing revolution that has demanded that these 2 million be locked up, and especially the drug users. Lock them up every day on the radio, right? That's one of their main tenets. Lock them up. Throw away the key. Millions of lives destroyed. Millions of families destroyed over the last 15 years as we've strengthened our laws, 3 strikes and you're out, et cetera, as we've locked up all these people who had a medical condition but now will leave prison as criminals. We have made our society less safe. We are less safe as a result of a revolution that Rush Limbaugh led. And it is absolutely disgusting that this guy is free tonight while they're locked up. I want the million who are in prison on drugs let out and getting help, and I want Rush Limbaugh locked up and the key thrown away. We don't have to take this anymore, folks. You know, this other guy, Joe Scarborough. Have you seen this show on MSNBC? Scarborough Country. I was flipping through the channels one day, and I ran across MSNBC, and there's a promo there, and the promo said, "Tonight on Scarborough Country, Michael Moore hates America." 10 Eastern, 9 Central. And I went, whoa, somebody's got my name. What's a common name, I guess? So I turned on the show that night, and it wasn't only somebody who had my name, it was somebody that looked like me. Michael Moore hates America. Oh man, I thought, and then he just goes on and like attacking me and you know, just repeating like all these internet lies about my work and just lie after lie after lie. And I thought, wow, this is incredible. If you put something on the internet, it like makes it true. Or if you are on TV, it's even more true if you just say it. I mean, it'd be one thing to ask the question, does Michael Moore hate America? I mean, I could tell you how I feel about that. I could answer that question, you know. I happen to love this country, right? You know, and like that's how I spend my time trying to make it better. But to make a statement like that, as a fact, Michael Moore hates America. I just thought, man, that's like kind of harsh, and like a slander, you know. So I went on the internet after the show and I typed in Joe Scarborough. And are you aware that he was a Republican congressman from Florida till just a couple years ago? It's time to start giving the right a taste of their own medicine. Oh, no, Mike, we're not like that, you know. You're right, we aren't like that. We're not inclined to be that way. But folks, it is absolute, I mean, for these people to have the White House, the Senate, the House, the Supreme Court, the governorships, and everything else in this country, when they represent only, you know, maybe somewhere between 20 and 35% of the people, they represent a minority. The majority do not rule right now. And we have got to get this stuff back in our hands, all right? I'm, This is not the time to be wimps and wishy-washy and without spine. I mean, this is what the Democrats usually do, very spineless. I mean, these people, they lose when they win an election. You know, they can't even win when they win. If we leave it up to them, if we leave it up to the party hacks next year to pick the candidate, we will not be removing George W. Bush. We are going to have to take over ourselves and do this, because we aren't just going to be able to, we don't have much of a choice at this point. And, the whole business with these conservatives and these right-wingers and what they've done, people in other countries, they look at us and they wonder, what the hell is going on here? I mean, seriously, they can't figure it out, because, they don't understand why we are so mean-spirited to our own people, why we pick on the weakest among us. We go after the single mothers. We go after the poor. We go after the homeless. We always pick on the people who are the weakest in this country. In other countries, they understand about us. They get it. When we go and invade another country, okay, that's America. Yeah, okay, we know that about them. They get it when we exploit child labor in third world countries. They get that. But what they don't get is why we piss on our own. Why do we piss on our own people? I was in Milwaukee last week on the tour, and this woman came up to the book table. She was in a wheelchair, and I asked her why she was in the chair, and she said she has muscular dystrophy. But she says, I have the good kind, the kind where you get to live. And she said, my SSI benefits weren't enough, so I wanted to get a job so I could pay the bills and be a productive, member of society. And so she got a job, and as soon as she got the job, the government cut the SSI benefits from her. And I said, I have a nephew who has muscular dystrophy, and he has the bad kind, the kind where he won't live. And Clinton's welfare reform bill in 1996 removed his SSI benefits. It cut out the SSI benefits of 300,000 disabled kids. That's called welfare reform, because of all those welfare cheats in the wheelchairs. And I said to her, I'm so sorry about this. I don't know why we do this. I don't know why. What do we get? I mean, are there any Republicans or conservatives in here tonight? One or two of you? No? Well, everyone must have one in their family, right? I've written a chapter in this new book called How to Talk to Your Conservative Brother-in-Law. And it's just in time for Thanksgiving, because he'll be there, sitting down at the other end of the table, pontificating about everything. And it's like, what I want to ask the conservatives is, what's the kick? What's the visceral thrill that you get from punking on the least among us? What do you get from that? I'm just curious what that does for you. It's like you don't really go after the people that are strong or have power or have nice things. You go after the people who are hurting the most, and you look for ways to take away the things that help them. What do you get out of that? I'll tell you what you do. I'll tell you what we all get. We get a different kind of society than they have in other countries. They don't have this in many, many, many other countries. Canada, Britain, Ireland, France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Costa Rica, Cuba. You can go down a whole list of countries. They don't treat their weakest people this way. That's unique to us. Because in other countries, they have an ethic. They have an ethic that we don't have. Are there any Canadians in here? Any? Woo! It's a Canadian woo, as opposed to the American woo. No, but you know, these Canadians, they have this ethic, right? That says, and they have it in them, I mean, from the time they're kids, it's instilled in them. And it says, we're all Canadians. We're all in the same boat. What affects one of us affects all of us. So if one of us is sick and doesn't have a doctor to go to, we all suffer as a result of that. If one of us loses our job, we all hurt as a result of that. And so we have to have a safety net to make sure that everyone is covered and protected should they ever hit upon hard times. That's the way they think up there. Even the Conservative Party in Canada supports universal health care. Even the Conservatives up there support it. And they support it not because they're doing it for the moral do-good reasons. They're doing it just to save their own ass. That's why they do it. Because they don't want to live in a society full of millions of desperate people. They don't want to be afraid when they walk down the street knowing that the have-nots are desperate and might hurt them. They don't want to live behind locked doors 24/7. They don't want to live like that. You know, I put this in Bowling for Columbine, the fact that the Canadians have 10 million households and they've got 7 million guns in those 10 million homes. And yet they don't shoot each other. I mean, that's amazing. You know, they have virtually no murder rate up there. And I think the reason that is because they're wired to think that if I were to shoot somebody, I'd be shooting a Canadian. I'd be shooting myself. And so they don't think about resolving their problems or their anger or whatever with that kind of violence. But that's not us, is it? You know, that's not the American ethic. The American ethic is every man for himself. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Me, 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 me. Right? That's our ethic. And, you know, I think it comes from the fact that we have a system of enforced ignorance in this country. Enforced ignorance. From the time we're in school into adulthood, the nightly news, no matter what it is, it's all about let's just keep ourselves as stupid as possible. But of course, ignorance leads to fear, and fear leads to hate, and hate leads to violence. That's the American equation. Last fall, National Geographic did this survey of 3,000 young adult Americans between the ages of 18 and 25. They wanted to find out what young adult Americans knew about geography. And yeah, you know where I'm going with this, right? 85% could not find Iraq on the map. 85%. Folks, shouldn't it be like international rule number one? If you can't find the country on the map, you're not allowed to invade it. I mean, just shouldn't that? It's like from now on, any country that wants to bomb another country has to take a written test. And if the majority of people fail the test, they have to bomb themselves or something. I don't know. 60% could not find Great Britain on the map. 60%. Here's the best one, though. 11% could not find the United States on the map. I kid you not. When asked the question, what is the population of the United States? The majority answered between 1 and 2 billion. My friends, when you have a population that is this disoriented, that has this much of a lack of a sense of self and place in the world, when you have a public that doesn't even understand space and volume, you have a disoriented nation. And when you have a disoriented nation, you have a nation full of people who are easy to manipulate with lies and with fear. That's the way George W. Bush has pulled it off. That's how he's gotten away with it. How else can you explain that half of the American people fell for the fact that Saddam Hussein helped plan 9/11? You know, when you're like this, it's all the same. Saddam, Osama, Osama, Saddam, Saddam, Osama, Osama, Saddam, Iraq, Iran, Iran, Iraq, 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 Iran, Iran, Iraq, Iraq, Iran. You know, it's like axis of evil. Axis of, that sounds good. Axis of evil. Yes, we like that. Axis of evil. Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. Well, we took care of Iraq. Now we're on to Iran. Nope, wait, North Korea. Whoops. Oh, they got nuclear weapons over there. Whoa, how'd that happen? I felt sorry for the poor North Koreans, you know. There was all the talk about Iraq and Iran, and they were kind of left out of it, you know. And and all the while, North Korea's like over here going, hello, hello. Well, you don't know if Iraq has them, but we already have them. We've got weapons of mass destruction. Hello, hello. Like the Bush administration is going, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Who let them into the axis of evil? Wait your turn. We'll get around to you. You know, that's why the American brain just resembles some scrambled egg mush. You know, it's how you can get people to suddenly hate the French. And not for the right reasons, you know? I mean, the old reasons were okay, you know, weren't they good enough? You know, they were collaborators, they're rude, they take themselves too seriously, you know, wasn't that good enough? No, we had to make shit up. Suddenly France is, you know, in bed with Saddam Hussein too, you know? Picking on the poor French, how lame is that? The French, you know what the French are? They're our friends. You know, we all have, everyone in here has a good friend or two, right? And it's your good friend that can tell you when you're screwing up. That's what a good friend does. That's what France was doing. That's what France was doing. The French, if it wasn't for the French, we wouldn't have won the Revolutionary War, right? You know your history. The French, they gave us the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty. It was a gift from France. The French invented sex. I mean, before the French, it was just procreation, you know? It was necessary to keep the species going. Then the French came along and made it interesting. Of course, only right-wing Republicans would hate the people that gave us sex. But you know, a confused nation, a disoriented nation, can be helped with just a little bit of information. Just a little bit of the facts, just a little bit of the truth. And when you start to tell them the truth, they come around, just as we've seen happen in the past few months. Once a few people in the media started to do their job and followed the lead of the alternative media, which had been doing the job since before the war, once they did their job and started to tell the American people and explain to them very clearly how they were lied to over and over and over again, and not just lies of omission or mistakes or misleading or spinning the truth. These were outright premeditated lies, so numerous that these people in the Bush administration, I call them serial liars. That's what they are. They're serial liars. And our fellow Americans who are liberal because they have a good heart, once educated with the truth, Bush's poll numbers have dropped from near 90% to 49% in just a couple of months. This is incredible. Support for the war has dropped considerably. I mean, it's incredible to see this happening. It really, it's so, but all you got to do is give them that information. In the first chapter of my new book here, it's called 7 Questions for George of Arabia. And if you read this, if you just get this, read this one chapter, when you share this information with the person at work or the person you go to school with or your neighbor, that the Bush family has had these financial ties to the bin Ladens, has had these financial ties to the Saudi royal family. There's a reason why they don't want us to read those 28 pages that they've blacked out in the congressional 9/11 report, because it shows them all a little bit too cozy with each other. And if the average American could hear that, they're going to go, what the hell is this all about? And they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it when they find out the truth. And, I try to outline all these lies and give the facts and all the information you can use. It's called Home of the Whopper. And I've got little names for each of my favorite Whoppers from the Bush administration. Original Whopper, Double Whopper, Whopper with cheese, Whopper with freedom fries. Now, did you see that in the news yesterday? Now it's turned out that Burger King has actually built a Burger King in Baghdad for the troops. Did you see this? And within just the first weeks, it's already the 5th largest grossing Burger King worldwide. That's why we fought the war. It was good to see that. It was wonderful to see that. Can I read something from the book for you here? Would that be okay? It seems a little odd in such a large arena. We've been calling this the first stadium tour for a book. But I guess you guys did have some music here earlier, right? Looks like there's... Maybe we'll just pick up a guitar or two. About halfway through the book, I was kind of burned out. And so God came to me one night and said, hey, I'll write a chapter for you. Go take a break. He was a little upset because Bush keeps claiming that he's there because of God's divine plan. That God wanted him to be governor of Texas and he wanted him to be president. And of course now we have the general in Iraq. Did you see him this week? The General Boykin. saying that our God is bigger than the Islamic God? Our God's bigger than your God. Nah, 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 nah. That's why we fight, because our God is bigger. And then he went on to say, well, actually, their God isn't really a God, it's an idol. Which means it'll be getting a show on Fox in the new season. So anyways, God wanted to take over here, and so I let him. And this chapter is called Jesus W. Christ. And of course, I read this with all due respect as a former seminarian and recovering Catholic. Hi, God here. I hope you don't mind if I interrupt Mike's book with a few words from me, your almighty creator, but hey, I'm God. Who the hell's going to stop me? I have a confession to make. Sometimes I screw up. Not all my creations are perfect. And in the case of the human you know as George W. Bush, well, this is one that really got away from me. I'm not quite sure how it happened. I have a pretty strict inventory process up here, and it's rare that something I create turns out to be a clunker. But when I screw up big. Take Pompeii. I still don't know what the hell happened there. I was experimenting with a new mix of sulfur and dioxide and sugar-free cola, and before I knew it, boom! All the right-wing attack Michael Moore websites tonight they'll have a thing on there going, Mr. Moore claims that sugar-free cola was around during the time of Pompeii, when in fact it was invented in 1967. I'm dying. And I've made a lot of other mistakes. I should have given you all eyes in the back of your heads. I never should have given you any of you the brains to invent AstroTurf. I should have struck down Clear Channel with one awesome lightning bolt a long time ago. But for now, what am I going to do about this Bush fellow? I keep hearing him say that he's acting on my behalf. Let's get one thing straight. This guy does not speak for me or anyone else up here. I do my own talking. And when I'm tired, I send down a prophet or two to do the yammering for me. Once I sent my son, but that just stirred up a shitstorm that still hasn't died down. Our relationship's been a little strained ever since. He's told me in no uncertain terms that he's never returning to Earth, second coming or no second coming. Send Gabriel is all he ever says when I broach the subject. I'd hate to have to come down there myself to straighten things out, because when I show up, it ain't a pretty sight. George W. Bush was not sent by me on any kind of mission whatsoever. He was not sent to remove Saddam. He was not sent to fight some axis of evil. And he was not supposed to be president. I don't even know how that happened. First, I answered all of your prayers and removed his father from the presidency. Then, when little Georgie showed up 8 years later, I again answered all your prayers and gave Gore the most votes. I didn't count on the interference of any supreme beings or supreme courts. Plus, there was that problem of Lucifer rearing his ugly head in the form of someone you know as Catherine Harris. In the beginning, I never really worried about this Bush fellow, because in my divine plan, I created him to be one of your rich kid party boys. In the great mix of the universe, I allow for all kinds of people, and I create between 200 and 300 party boys a day. even more during spring break. You need them as much as you need the rocket scientists and the cellists I sent you. These boys are crucial to keeping the party going. They get people laughing, they line up the bands, and they buy the drinks for the underaged. Well, before I knew it, George was governor of Texas, and he was executing people. Hey, that's my job. Then he was in the White House, all powerful and ruling the world. Many of you gave up on me. The praying stopped and the cursing began. Oh yes, I have feelings too. And it hurts, it really does. Who do I have to turn to in my time of need? The Holy Ghost? That guy is useless. Never around. So for the few of you who still hold some faith in me, let me assure you of the following. Number one, I am the Lord thy God, and he is the son of George, not the son of God. I will have him spending eternity parking cars in hell's VIP lot. Number two, I did not order Bush to invade any countries. It is still wrong to kill other human beings unless they've got a really big knife at your throat and all pleas for mercy and a warning shot have gone unheeded. Number three, I do not want school kids praying to me in a classroom. Save it for the church and before bedtime. That's enough for the little tykes. You keep forcing them to pray to me, they're going to hate my ass. Stop it. Number four. Now listen carefully. An embryo is an embryo. A fetus is a fetus. And a baby is a baby. That's the way I set it up. When it is a baby, then it becomes a human being. I don't need you humans around 9 months earlier. You're difficult enough. Oh, and another thing, while we're on the subject, I don't really care about your sex lives as long as they're consenting and adult. Just keep it to yourselves, okay? Number five, I do not endorse creationism. It's a completely bogus concept. Right up there with the New Hampshire primary and non-alcoholic beer. I'm an evolution guy. Who else could create something so complex and miraculous? Number six, I do not approve of plaques with the 10 Commandments being displayed in public buildings. My little-known 11th commandment, keep your religious convictions to your own damn selves. Number seven, as far as the other religions go, 2 points of clarification. One, there are never going to be 72 virgins waiting for you up here. We haven't had a virgin up here since Jesus' mother, and you're not getting anywhere near her. So save yourself the dynamite and the blown to bits body parts, because you're not getting a place in my joint if you do that sort of thing. And number two, there is no promised land. That big truckload of sand I dumped in that horrid little strip between the Mediterranean and the River Jordan, nobody is supposed to live on it, let alone fight over it and cause the end of the world. I did not give that land to the Israelites. I did not give that land to Muhammad. And if you keep using me as the landlord, I'm going to come down there and settle it once and for all. So knock it off. And finally, number 8. No more of this God bless America crap. Gee. What makes you think you get to be blessed and no one else does? I don't play favorites. You don't hear anyone from Djibouti going, God bless Djibouti. I've never heard the words uttered, God bless Botswana. They know better. Let's get this straight. God don't bless America. God don't bless anyone. God's got a tea time on the back nine, and he doesn't have time to be interrupted with all this patriotic mumbo-jumbo. Go bless yourselves and quit using my name as justification for feeling superior to everyone else. You aren't. Look, I'm asking for a little help here. I realize I should have put an end to this madness a few days after 9/11, when George W. said on the altar of the National Cathedral that it was his mission now to, quote, rid the world of all evil. People started to believe that he was going to do it. Well, you can't rid the world of all evil because evil is necessary to define what is good. If there were no evil, there would be no me. Evil is necessary for you humans, a way for me to test you, challenge you, to give you a chance to decide with your free will whether to choose evil or good. You want to get rid of some evil? Why not start with eliminating a bit of the evil you've created? Letting people live on the street without a home, that's evil. Allowing millions of your children to go hungry, that is evil. Watching endless hours of reality television when you could be having really raunchy sex with someone you love, that is evil. You want to fight an evildoer? Go smack yourself around the room for an hour. Then go out and defeat the devil in the big white house. That is your mission. Fail me and you'll be toast. That is all. God has spoken. It's time now for our game show that we play every night across America. This is our 25th night doing this, and what I'm going to need for this little game is, where are those Canadians that were wooing earlier? Okay, now I need, could we have the lights up just a little bit, if that's possible? Is that, if not, I can kind of see. I need a Canadian in here who's not that bright. So I don't want an all-A Canadian. I need a Canadian who is like average, maybe below average. Somebody who didn't get, that good of grades. Does that person exist in here? Where? Right there? Stand up, please. Stand up. Stand up. Now, what kind of grades do you get? Below average? Like how below? What do you say? Now, don't be saying that just so you can get up here on the stage. I need a really dumb Canadian. What kind of grades? B's, C's, D's? Huh? He has a B average. Do I have a Canadian here with less than a B average? Huh? Is there one? Where? Stand up. Stand up. All right. What kind of average? What kind of grade average? They don't have. Wait, let them speak. What do you say up there? A Canadian D? What's that mean? All right, that sounds pretty dumb to me. Come on down here, sir. Come on. Make your way down here. All right. Now I need the smartest student here at Portland State or any of the other schools in the area. I need an all-A student. I need an all-A student. All-A. Right there. You. Who else? Who else do we? Anybody else? We have just one all-A student in this crowd right there. Come on up. You come on up here, right here. Come on up here, yeah. I need another all-A student right there on the aisle. All right, come on up here. All right. Now these are pretty young. Do we have any older students who are all A's? Right there, sir. Yes, come on up. Any women? All A's. Right there. Send her up. Come on. All right, here we go. Where's our Canadian? Take it. Security. Okay, we got a lot of people up here. Let's move these chairs back. Well, are these all American? Now, you're all Americans, right? All Americans, all A's. Okay, Americans, stand over to the right here. My right. Canadian to the left. All right, come on up here. Oh, my God. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. All right, this is good. This is because I'll tell you, folks, here's what's happened as we've done this across the country. In the 24 previous cities, the Canadian has won all 24 times. And we started out with just one American against the Canadian, then we added 2 and 3. This is the largest group of Americans we've had, but if this is what it takes to defeat Canada, this is what we'll do. All right, we're going to play a little game here called Stump the Yanks, all right? And the way this works is we're going to find out whether the dumbest Canadian in here tonight, relatively speaking, is whether he's smarter than the smartest Americans, all right? All right, you guys ready now? Quick, what's your name?
Alex.
Alex, and what are your grades?
About a 3.9.
Are you a high school student?
Yeah.
Very good. And you, sir?
Kevin.
Kevin, where do you go to school?
Patton Middle School.
Yeah. All A's?
A's and B's.
Now, we've never had a middle school student up here, but we've lost every time, so I'm getting desperate. So I'm hoping you're the one that's going to make it happen for our side, all right? Ma'am, your name?
Annette.
Annette? Grades?
4.0.
Whoa, all right. And what do you study?
I just finished a master's degree at Portland State. Conflict resolution.
A master's in conflict resolution. Oh, sorry. Sir?
Liam Rosen.
Liam, grades?
3.9.
3.9, college or high school?
High school.
High school. Where do you go to school?
Clackamas High School.
All right. Your name?
Tara Stutzman.
Tara, okay. And what kind of grades do you get? Don't fall off the stage there, okay? All right.
I went to Andover where George Bush went, and I got a 4.25 there, and I'm at Lake Ridge now, and I've got like a 3.5 there. So.
Wow. Cool. All right. Now we're in good shape now. We got Andover on our team. We've got a middle school. We've got Andover. Your name?
Brian Murray.
Grades?
397.
397. Studying what?
PhD in physics.
Oof. He's the first PhD we've had on this tour. Okay, we're in great shape. Ma'am, your name?
Michaela Hammer.
And your grades?
4.0.
Where at?
Crescent Valley High School in Corvallis.
Okay, wow. Okay, we got a lot of high school students here. Now, you're not a high school student. What is your name?
John Ajamian.
And what did you get when you were in school?
At Wayne State University, 392, and at PSU, 4.0.
There you go, from Detroit. All right, that's another good thing going for us here. And ma'am?
Adrian Davis.
And your name is?
Adrian Davis.
Adrian Davis. And your grades?
4.0.
4.0. And what did you study?
Double major political science journalism.
All right. Don't worry. What is your name, sir?
Kieran Walsh.
And where are you from in Canada?
Montreal, Quebec.
Montreal, Quebec. Very good. And when you were in school, what kind of grades did you get?
There's 26 letters in the alphabet. I got B's and D's.
B's, no C's, just B's and D's.
Couldn't be bothered with C's.
Okay, all right, good. And all right, well, this is excellent. All right, good. We're in good shape. All right, here we go. All right, Americans, please be careful of the side of the stage there. Okay, just. I don't want to lose any on our team. It's the only way we're going to win if I've got all of you working together. All right, but I'll come to you individually for your answers. Ready? Here we go. Who is the, quote, President of the United States?
Well, he claims he is George W. Bush.
That is correct. All right. Who is the Prime Minister of Canada?
I don't know.
Tony Blair.
Tony Blair? Yes, tell him who it is.
Gretchen.
Correct. It's okay. I'll do an easier one, okay? We'll do 3 each time. I'll come to you guys. It looked like the brain trust was in the center there. No offense, all right? It's okay. It's okay. There's still time to learn this. Hang on. Question number 2. What is the capital of the United States?
Washington, D.C.
What is the capital of Canada? Andover.
Quebec.
Quebec is wrong.
Montreal.
Montreal is wrong.
It's me.
You don't know? You lived on the Canadian border in Detroit.
Windsor?
Windsor is wrong.
Ottawa.
It's Ottawa. What's the score? Canadians 2, Americans nothing? All right, here's a category in the center now. I'm coming to you guys, all right? Where's the PhD? Who was the PhD? Oh, that was you. Ah, shit. We're going to let the black woman answer from now on. Yeah, I know. You didn't want to say that, but you and I are thinking the same thing. All right. Right, because right, as he just said, she is the new American majority. All right, here we go. The category is countries we like to bomb. That's meaning us. There are 6 countries that border Iraq. Name 3 of them.
Turkey, Iran, and Turkey. Kuwait.
That's correct. You were just being Canadian there, weren't you? Yeah. See, he did not want to rub it in. No killer instinct up there, right? Thought you'd turn it into a joke because you felt sorry for the American side. That's why we love them, right? In countries we love to bomb, there are 6 countries that border Afghanistan. Name 3 of them.
Iran, Russia, well, Kazakhstan really, but it's what used to be Russia.
There is no Kazakhstan. And of course not the current Russia.
Let's see. Iran, Russia, Pakistan.
Pakistan is number 2.
Uzbekistan. Wait, is it Uzbekistan? What is it? Uzbekistan?
Jordan?
Pakistan?
You know, they said Pakistan.
China.
China is correct. All right, the Americans got one. All right. Wait, what's the score? 3-1. The Canadians win again. Sorry. For winning, you get a free DVD of Bowling for Columbine. And the Americans all get, you have to start at the beginning. You get Roger and me. There you go. There's one for everyone here. But wait a minute. because we lost. Come on over here. Come on over here. Because we lost. No, I'll sign them. You stand right there. No, we do a little something for you because you're the winner, and we lost. We're going to sing for you. Ready? The Canadian National Anthem. Ready? I'll start. Listen. Wait. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, through all our sons command, with glowing hearts, see thee rise, a true north, strong and free, from far and wide. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Big ending. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Let's hear it for the Canadians. Damn, I thought we could do it here. You know, another thing we can learn from the Canadians is how to conduct an election. I don't know if you've read about this, but the Diebold Corporation, have you read about this? Diebold, this is the company that's got the government contract to do the computerized voting machines for our elections next year to sort of solve the Florida problem. It turns out that Diebold, the chairman of Diebold, is one of the top fundraisers for George W. Bush. He's one of the Bush pioneers, one of the Bush Rangers. He was quoted last month as saying he would deliver the election for George W. Bush. These are the people who are giving us the computerized machines for next year. You know how they do it in Canada? You know how they vote in Canada? Canadians, tell them. How do you vote? Paper and pencil. That's right. They have a paper ballot and they use a little pencil. And they have 5 political parties, and each of the 5 parties get equal time, equal funding. They're all in the debates because They've got this crazy notion in Canada that just 2 political parties cannot represent the broad spectrum of political thought with 30 million people. So everyone goes to vote, and the name in the little box, and you mark the box, and then when the polls close in the precinct, they dump all the paper ballots out on a big table, and then they watch the piles go up, and one of the candidates wins, and that is certified, and then they phone Ottawa with the results. Canada is the 2nd largest landmass country on Earth. 30 million people. They are able to have the results in just 4 hours. 4 hours. You know, I mean, you go an hour north of Toronto, there's no roads. I don't know how they're, canoes, or I don't know how they're getting this, but they're able to pull this off. We need to go back to the old-fashioned way of voting, where it's easily verifiable. You have poll watchers watching the ballots being counted. We also need a system of proportional representation. You know, if 10% of the country is green, then 10% of the members of Congress should be green. If 8% is libertarian, 8% should be libertarian. If 30% is Republican, and on and on and on. We need that system. That's what we have now. It doesn't truly represent the will of the people. That's why we need instant runoff balloting. We need to be able, when we vote,
like they do in many other countries. You go in and you mark choice 1 and choice 2, your first choice and your second choice, and it's weighted that way when it's counted, and the winner is more of a true representation of what people want, as opposed to the majority having to split their vote between candidates, and then the minority angry white guy wins. And we need to go to the paper ballot and the pencil. There's bills before Congress to try and stop this Diebold nightmare from happening. There's stuff on my website about it. I encourage you to read about this and get involved and make your feelings known to your members of Congress about, yeah, and that too. We need to get the money out of our election system. It's absolutely, it's the thing that it makes it impossible. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. I want to live. So I'm not. I already ran for office. I was elected to the school board when I was 18. So, everyone in here needs to think about running for office. You should. Everyone here should be a precinct delegate at the very least. You should be running for precinct delegate in your caucus or your primary, whatever you're going to have next year. I mean, that's a good thing to do. I'm asking for people to commit to one weekend next October, and I think if we can get tens of thousands of people to do this, I will have on my website next summer the 30 congressional districts where we have a good chance of removing the right-wing Republican and replacing that person with a liberal Democrat or an independent or a Green or whoever has the best chance of winning, and removing Congress from the hands of the Republicans. And I'm sure in the past many of you have given up a weekend to get on a bus and go to San Francisco or Seattle or wherever for a demonstration. You drive there on a Friday night, the demonstration's on Saturday, you come back on Sunday. It's a very common, I'm sure many of you have done something like that, where you've gone to Washington, D.C. or L.A. or wherever the demonstration was. I'm asking that you give up one weekend in October of '04 and drive or somehow get yourself to one of these congressional districts and give up the weekend. Imagine if there were tens of thousands of us going door to door, making phone calls, lining up rides for people so they can get to the polls, doing the physical work that needs to be done. How many people in here would be willing to give up one weekend next October? Just one weekend to get Congress out of the hands of the Republicans. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Oh, look at this. You got to do this, folks. I'm going to hold you to this. You got to do this. You absolutely have to do this. We've got to remove Bush. We have to remove him from office. You have an election coming up here next month in Portland. It is an imperative that we have a PUD here, a watchdog. Most of us throughout the country think of this area as a very enlightened, progressive area. I mean, it's really, you're well thought of throughout the country. I don't know if you know this or not. People are talking behind your backs. But now, when you say Portland, it creates a good feeling. And the fact that you were able to allow Enron to essentially take over your public utility makes you look like the biggest bunch of losers around. Nobody can figure this out. They got away with this in Portland? Damn, that Enron was good. Man, they were like, people in Portland are like smart. Except the ones I had on the stage. They tried. No, that's pretty good guessing China as bordering Afghanistan. It's just a little piece of China, like 20 miles. No, but you know what I'm saying, folks? We need to defeat PG&E here in November, and we need a government watchdog so that this never happens again, all right? So let's make sure we get out the vote, because they've got the money on their side. We've got the people.
All right, we've come to that point in the program where we bring along this little speaker phone, and we make phone calls for people in the audience. And so this can be if if you've got a conservative brother-in-law, we can call him up and try and convert him tonight. If there's anybody else that you'd like me to call, we can call. Yes, over here. Who are they? Who are they? What's their names? Know who that is here? Who? Somebody named Lars? Who is he? Who is that? Lars Larson? Is that a real name? Hi, I'm Lars Larson. Is that good? That'd be like, I'm Mike Michaels. That's not it. What's his real name? He's a dying dinosaur, right? So if we call him up, we'll be able to hear the sound. What's his number? Anybody have his number? Where would you find him here? What's the name of the station? KXL? KXL? Well, they're probably listed, right?
Lars Larson. If you'd like me to call back, leave your number, and I'll dial you right back. Thanks for calling.
Leave your callback number, 5.
Hey, Lars, this is Michael Moore, and I'm at the Memorial Coliseum, and we just wanted to hear what a dying dinosaur sounded like. Could you tell us, please? Yeah, they're doing their impersonation of the dying dinosaur. Let's all do it again. Lars, it's been a nice long run for you and all your friends, and should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should old acquaintance be forgot and the days of the dying dinosaurs. Thanks, Lars. Bye. You don't want to make more phone calls, do you? Oh. That only ate up like an hour of time. All right. Fox TV here locally. Who is it? Andy who? Andy Andrews? Is that his name? The local Fox News guy? What is this? Lars Larson, Andy Andrews? Am I in like some gingerbread town with... Hang on. I think we're done with the phone calling part of our extravaganza tonight. Thank you. We need to say a few words about what we're going to do, what we're actually going to do to get rid of Bush, and how we're going to do it with the people who are running. And I'd like to give you my 2 cents on this, okay? First of all, there's not going to be an independent third-party candidate on the ballot next year that we can get behind. That's just not going to happen. So what this means is that if we, as I said, leave it up to the Democrats, we're going to all lose. So we have to save them from themselves and save them for the sake of this country. We have to make sure that the right candidate gets on the ballot, not the one that the Democratic Party hacks want on the ballot. So I would like to just go through and give you my opinion of each of the candidates and what I think our job is right now. First of all, we need it's very early right now. It's still fairly early, and we have a job to do this month and next month and December, and that's to get these Democrats to be better candidates than they are, all right? It is not a good idea for all of us to instantly jump into the anyone but Bush camp. You don't need, there's plenty of time to get desperate and start screaming, anybody but Bush. You don't have to do that now. We're a year away. If you start screaming anyone but Bush now, it sends the wrong message to the Democrats that they can shovel us any old shit of a candidate that they want because we're so desperate we'll vote for anybody. Please, don't do that. Don't do that. It's the wrong place to be. What we need to do is, and the good news is that unlike the last election where we were being asked to settle for DLC Democrats, people like Gore, who in the second debate with Bush agreed with him 39 times in one debate on the issues, 39 times, offering no real alternative to the American people, no real opposition to Bush. It's amazing he still won. We don't have to we don't have to settle like that this time. There are a number of candidates who are running who can give us 60, 70, even 80, maybe more % of what we would like to see in a candidate, all right? So that's the good news. We're kind of, half the way there with a number of these Democrats. Our job in the next 3 months, before the primaries start, is to push these Democrats, all right? I have not endorsed anyone yet, and I'm not going to yet. And I'm encouraging people, don't throw down with any one candidate right now, because if you do that now, why do they have to change? Why do they have to take a better position? Because they know they already have you. Our job is to call these candidates' offices or send them emails and let them know how we feel to get them to be better candidates. Because, folks, right now, we have the leverage. We have the power. We won't have this power next spring and summer. We've got to use it now. These candidates right now need us more than we need them, all right? So we have got to do this work with all of these candidates. I'll give you an example. Howard Dean. Dean's a good guy. Dean's very good on many of the positions. He was against the war from the start. There's a lot of good things to say about Howard Dean. But Dean supports the death penalty for certain crimes. Dean says he won't cut the Pentagon budget. Dean gets an A rating from the National Rifle Association. Now, I'm not saying these things to say don't vote for Dean. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying our job right now is to push Dean to be better.
He needs to hear from 10,000 people. Imagine if he got 10,000 phone calls at his headquarters or 10,000 emails that said, you know, I'm trying to decide who to vote for next year. And, you know, I can't vote for a candidate that's for the death penalty, and I can't vote for a candidate who says he won't cut the Pentagon budget. So if you'd like my vote, then would you please change your position now? Or find a way to meet me halfway, or whatever it is, right? That's the way they've got to feel the pressure and the heat now. They won't be able to change these positions next summer. It will be too late, folks. It has to happen now. It has to happen now. And that's true with all of them. Wesley Clark, I sent a letter out to my list, and I sent a letter to Clark saying you should get in this race. I heard him say things I couldn't believe. I was hearing a general say about how Bush screwed this war up and how it was wrong to go to into Iraq, and how, you know, they were lying about tying Saddam to 9/11. And here's this 4-star general who's was first in his class at West Point and a Rhodes Scholar. You know, I'm a pacifist. I can't even hardly say the word general. You know, it's like, and yet here's a guy that's pro-choice. He's pro-environment. I watched him on C-SPAN last week. This person came up to the microphone in New Hampshire and said, "So, are you going to support the constitutional amendment defining marriage as between a man and a woman?" And Clark looked right at him and he goes, "No, I won't." Whoa! Another woman came up to the microphone. She says, my doctors prescribe medical marijuana, but the federal government has overridden our state, which has allowed it. What will you do? And Clark goes, I will not interfere with a state's rights to have medical marijuana laws. Whoa! But we don't know where he stands on a lot of the other issues, and I want to hear where he stands. I want to hear what he has to say. You know, he's such a non-politician. You know, he's like... I think that's what people like. I think it's one of the things that the voters find charming about Arnold or Jesse Ventura or people like this is that they're not professional politicians. And it's too bad that their side always gets the Ronald Reagans and the Arnolds. You know, we've got people like that. I say this in my book. Why not Oprah? You know, Oprah, she's got good politics. She's got a good heart. She'll have us all exercising at 6 a.m. and reading a book. This can't be a bad thing. Any of these right-wingers screw up, she'll send them down the hall to see Dr. Phil. You know? This is a good... No, will you stop that? You do not want to see this rolling around in the Oval Office, trust me. Let's run Tom Hanks. What American wouldn't vote for Tom Hanks? Why, you'd feel dirty if you left the voting booth not voting for Tom Hanks. Everyone loves Tom Hanks. Paul Newman. He's... I mean, if this is what it takes, I don't give a shit at this point. We have got to get rid of Bush, and we don't have to settle for some Democrat who's really a Republican. You know? Somebody shouted out,
well, Mike, Clark voted for Reagan. Clark voted for Reagan.
Yeah? So did most of America. What are you saying? You don't want most of America to change their mind and come to our side? I mean, that's why we lose all the time. You know, we have this elitist kind of purist. You know, nope, you voted for Reagan. Oh, can't come over here. Oh, no, can't come. Voted for Reagan. You know, when are we going to open up the tent and say to all the working class Americans who voted for Reagan, we know now, you know now, come on in. Come on in. It's okay. No. Got to stay pure. Even if we lose, we got to stay pure. That's just like nutty thinking, folks. It sends the wrong message to our fellow Americans who, again, feel in their hearts very liberal and progressive when it comes to these issues. Kerry, Gebhardt, Edwards all voted for the war. I took a pledge. Anybody who votes for the war will not get my vote. So they're out. Carol Moseley Brown, this is something where
when are we going to get a woman in the White House? I mean, this is like, no, seriously. I mean, I'm not just saying that. Women are the majority gender. Over 200 plus years now, and we don't have a woman in the White House. I mean, this is just, I don't know. I don't know what to do about this. This is a huge problem. It's an apartheid situation is what it is, when the minority gender is the one that's always in power. And I'm sorry to put it like that, but that's how I feel. Who does that leave? Al Sharpton, boy, he's great on all the issues. Great sense of humor. He's the only intelligent one in the debates. Kucinich, yeah. I agree 100% with everything Dennis Kucinich stands for. He's a good guy. He's for all the right things. But we even need to push Dennis. We even have to push Dennis. And that's why I'm not endorsing anybody yet, because it's like, you know, here's an example. Dennis Kucinich always used to vote in Congress against a woman's right to choose. And now he's come to our side. And that is exactly how I feel. He's changed his mind. He now votes in favor of pro-choice, and we welcome him to our side. And we don't punish him for the previous votes. We have to be that way, or we will always be on the losing end of things, folks. Now, but here's the problem I have. Like when I hear Dennis say that he's pro-choice now, he always prefaces it with, while I'm personally opposed to abortion, I will do nothing to restrict or inhibit a woman's right to choose. And there's just something that just, when I hear that, it's like I respect his right to feel that way for whatever moral reasons, and I respect anyone in here who believes abortion is personally wrong, you know, for you. But I don't know if I want somebody in the White House who personally feels that way. Even though he's able to make the separation, I don't know why it needs to be said, because first of all, I mean, if he said, because of my religious convictions, I'm personally opposed to interracial marriage, but I will enact no law nor restrict anyone's right to interracially marry, how would you feel about him? Now, they die for Halliburton now. That's what the sacrifice is for. Well, I'd like to make a modest proposal. I would like, from now on, for every one of our kids that dies over there, Halliburton has to slay one mid-level executive. All right? One mid-level executive. I want to see a sacrificial altar built in the plaza in front of Halliburton. And every time they announce another American soldier has died, they got to send up to the 45th floor for somebody to come on down to the chopping block. It's only fair, don't you think? For every one of ours, one of theirs? Right? Isn't that a fair, considering how we don't actually benefit from the war? In fact, we have to now pay for the war. The least they could do is offer up one executive for every one of our kids. Don't you think that's just a fair trade-off? I don't know. You know, the thousands of Iraqis, let me tell you, the tens of thousands of Iraqis who have died as a result of our sanctions and our bombing since the end of the first Gulf War, you know, we're going to have to pay for that someday. I think we're already paying for it. You know, what is it about us? What is it about us? It's like, you know, when I die, I don't want to end up going to the pearly gates and having the guy at the, you know, the bouncer with the velvet rope there going, oh, he's an American. You know, responsible for the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children. Send them the other way. You know, don't you think we have to answer for this someday, either here, now, or later, somewhere, somehow, regardless of your beliefs? You know, don't you think we're going to pay a price for this? Do you think you're now more safe as an American in this world as a result of the policies of George W. Bush? Do you remember at the beginning of the war, when you would say something, you would maybe say something in the office or at school or maybe in your family, and it was, after the war started, it was a scary thing, wasn't it? To dissent, right? And you had to immediately, if you said something against the war, you had to immediately follow it up with, but I support the troops. I support the troops.
I support the troops, right? Of course you support the troops. That's all you've done. Because the troops are kids who come from the working poor and the poor in this country, and the working class. That's how you've lived your lives to try and make it better for the have-nots. You didn't need to be defensive. You didn't need to make any statement. You've always supported the troops and the class that the troops come from. Questioning our patriotism, questioning our support for the troops, these bastards. These are bastards, folks. You know, these kids, these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who sign up to go to the military, many of them because of the economic conditions they're in, isn't that something? After being shat upon for their first 18 years by going to the city's worst schools, by seeing their single parents mistreated and abused by the federal government and the state government and the city government, by having to live in conditions that are not the conditions of Beaverton. Isn't it amazing that in spite of the first 18 years of being on the lowest rung of the ladder and having to take this kind of abuse, they're willing to actually go and sign up to defend us? That's amazing that they are willing to go and sign up on a dotted line, that they will give up their lives for you and me if necessary. That's an amazing gift. They do it so that we don't have to. They do it so we don't have to serve. They do it so we can drive home in our nice car tonight, right? That's why they do. I mean, this is an incredible thing that these kids do for us, and all they ask for in return, in their pact with us, in their agreement and their trust that they put in us, all they ask for in return is that we never send them into harm's way unless it's for the absolute self-defense of the country. That's all they ask in return. Don't take my life from me unless it's for the defense of the country. And folks, we have violated that pact. We have violated that agreement. We have broken that trust with these young people, and now over 300 of them are dead. They're going to continue to die. This is a war without end. It was a war that was started on a lie, on a premeditated lie, and they've gotten away with it so far. And somebody just shouted out, impeach Bush. No, that's too good. That's too good for him. I want to see a perp walk. I want to see a perp walk coming out of the west wing of the White House. I want to see them all in handcuffs. These people are criminals. They've committed treason. They hate the troops. They hate the troops. They hate America. Let's remove them all from office next year, folks. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Portland.